Hey folks, Quilly here, and I played Sid Meier's Civilization VII. I recently took a trip to the Firaxis offices in Baltimore, and I got to sit down, and for 3 hours, I got to play Civ 7. I also got a chance to talk with Ed Beach, the designer of Civ 7, also the designer of Civ 6, as well as producers and some of the other devs involved in this bad boy. We got to play through the first age, more on that in a second. And unfortunately, we weren't actually able to record footage there because we were playing a very early demo build with lots of things subject to change. In fact, the footage that we're going to see in this video, a lot of things in here are also subject to change. But they were like, you know what, we can't let you just record footage, but we will send you this B-roll footage over here. I have copious notes from both the presentations that I watched as well as my own gameplay. I thought about doing this as one big mega video. I think I might go and subdivide this video over here into different sections. So here we can see different timestamps of topics that are talked about or demonstrated in this B-roll. There's a few other things I can talk about beyond this. So what I think I'm going to do is try to make a series of shorter videos talking about these different concepts. So you could just, I'll put in a playlist. There should be a link in the description box down below that you can just watch through if you just want to watch everything, or if you're interested in just the little sub bits, then we can go ahead and do that. If you are new to the channel, of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. And in general, dropping a like and leaving a comment in the comments down below is very, very useful for the YouTube algorithm. So that's appreciated. Okay, let's go into the first topic of our talk about Civ 7, mix and match leaders and civs. So right away we get something that is fairly radically different. Now, in this demo that this B-roll footage is recorded from, there are just 4 leaders and 4 civilizations. Certainly there will be more at release, but this is what we have over here. And for the first time in a Civ, we have this idea of mixing and matching leaders. Now, this is something we've seen hints of it before. For example, if we look at Civ 6, right, we had Eleanor who can lead either England or can lead France. So, so we got a bit of a taste of that, but now we've got completely freeform setup. So first you choose your leader, then you choose the civilization that they will lead. Now, there is recommendations for the historical ones that you will run. For example, with Hatshepsut, it will recommend Egypt, or also another one that I can't remember. It's like, well, this would also sort of fit historically, but there's nothing that puts a limit. You can have Hatshepsut run Rome. You could have, I mean, I don't know what antiquity age civilizations there will be. We'll have to address the ages in a second here, but you know, let's say Canada, which obviously shouldn't be an antiquity age one, so I'm assuming it's not going to exist, but theoretically you could have Hatshepsut lead Canada if you want to do some weird alt history kind of stuff, which is of course the whole point of something like Civilization. We do weird things, right? We have Japan build the pyramids, we have Poland can go into space, we have all those sorts of things, so now we can amplify it a little bit more while still keeping things historical if we want. So one of the other big changes that is going to happen in Civ here is the fact that the game is divided into 3 ages. These are things that we've seen happen in things like in other 4X games, Millennia, Humankind. It's going to be implemented in a very different way here in Civ 7. First of all, there's only 3 ages. Each age is going to be probably more significant. I mean, we've had ages in previous Civs, right? You unlock a tech and it's like, oh, you've entered the Renaissance era now. But it didn't really mean too much. I mean, Civ 6, yeah, we had, you know, whether you were going into a Dark Age or a Normal Age or a Golden Age, but the ages themselves didn't mean much. They changed some of the look of the screen, like the graphics on board. Whereas here the ages will be a little bit more of a big deal, with sub-goals to be achieved in each one of those ages that start to move towards the victory condition. They didn't want this whole sort of like, you're really only working towards the hardcore victory condition right at the end. Oh, here we can see, there we go, the change of Axum. That was the other one. So they're saying Hatshepsut leading Axum would be a relatively reasonable historical choice, as well as Egypt over here. And there's different combos that you can build towards. I actually play as the Hatshepsut of Egypt for a couple of different reasons. Typically, when I start a new game of Civ, I like to play as Egypt or Rome, because to me, they're some of the more iconic antiquities slash classical era civilization, and you know, whether I want to go with a wonder building vibe or a conquest vibe, that's how I choose between Egypt and Rome. Well, I chose Egypt here. One of the big reasons is because Egypt has a bonus to navigable rivers, which I think if we go, it'll kick into the game relatively soon here. And I just want to showcase the screen in just a moment.
The waters flood again.
Okay, I'm well, we can see the bonuses. You can pause on the screen if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and skip forward, and we'll take a look at the map. Now, I want to say this map, unfortunately, this video is not going to do justice to it, because This B-roll footage is highly compressed, and then I'm doing a screen record of it, and then further compressing it, uploading it to YouTube. YouTube does its own compression. Everything is going to look kind of muddy on the screen over here, unfortunately, because I played this, and I did play this on a 4K monitor over at Firaxis, and this map is gorgeous to look at. The landscape is just absolutely beautiful. I love the style of it. The units stand out in the sort of iconic, brightly colored, not cartoonish, people overuse that kind of word, but that kind of poppy style, which is important. But the landscape itself, to me, is just got this gorgeous little realistic kind of vibe to the background of it. That is good. So do I stop this? And we'll go a little bit more and just look at a little bit more of the early game. So they're going to start a unit. You can see that these guys are just going to take one turn each. So we started, note that we didn't start with a military unit. We just started with a founder unit that founded our first settlement. And settlement is the word they use because the settlements are actually going to come in two flavors. Full-fledged cities, which this is one of, as well as more minor towns. So we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go forward here. But instead of starting you with a unit, the way, and again, this is all subject to change, of course, you'll get to choose your first unit effectively because these are, you start with enough sort of innate built-in production to pop one of these out in one turn. So they're going to choose a scout over here, which is actually interesting because it's got a few new tools. And then the Medjay is the Egyptian unique unit as a base thing. They're going to advance next turn. They also get your first tech unlocks immediately, which will also unlock the granary building that you could do that. So you can't, the first turn you're going to be building one of these, your starter military unit, but you get to choose from which one it is, which is interesting. All right, we'll put a pause here because we'll talk about the technology choices in the next episode, which is also going to tie into the biggest changes for the cities, which is how there are now rural districts, there are now urban districts. These two things are quite different and work in very different ways. And also, shockingly enough, there is no more builder or worker unit. You do not build a unit that builds improvements anymore. That is gone. So if that doesn't whet the appetite, I don't know what will be. Stay tuned for the next episode. It should be available. In theory, all the episodes will be available just today. And it should all be linked in one playlist. A bunch should already be live. So check there. Again, if you're new to the channel, definitely make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss anything. And again, a like and a comment, really helpful. I know it sucks when people keep saying it, and I usually don't say it in the videos, but I need to get in the habit to say it more often. It's going to be really important. So, this is probably going to be like an hour or more of content on this, but I'm going to try to subdivide it into more palatable chunks for people. So thanks a lot for watching, folks, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.